Welcome to another edition of CresTV ANZ. My guest this week is Jason Allen, the publisher and editor of CX magazine and its associated websites, a very well-known pro audio and AV magazine in Australia and New Zealand. Jason, welcome.
Thank you, Stuart. Nice to be here.
Jason, we're talking today really about what's happened to the production and events industry that you're a big part of. You sent out some statistics a couple of weeks ago that really caught my attention. This is what your email said. Of your industry readership, income was down 82% last year. Projected income is down 75% for this year. 98% of companies are on the government JobKeeper program, and of course JobKeeper ends in March 2021. And for these people, again, the statistics go on that 45% of companies will let people go at the end of that if it's not renewed, and 42% of companies will potentially have to close the doors. That's a lot to take in. You know, you've been in this industry a long time, and I was certainly in the pro audio industry for a long time. These people who get into this industry are passionate people about technology who perhaps were involved at AV at church or the lighting at the school theatre, and they've built these businesses out of a passion, and for no reason of their own, they're all looking at a pretty steep cliff. I mean, what sort of conversations have you been having?
Yeah, well, this has all come out of an ongoing relationship that the magazine's had with various activist groups in the industry. So Save Victorian Events, Save New South Wales Events, other organisations that are lobbying for extension of JobKeeper or some kind of targeted relief for the live production industry. The sad thing about some of those stats is that's averaged over the entire live events business. So it includes people who cater to business events. If you want to look at something like the live music touring industry, that's not 85% down, that's still almost 100% down.
Right.
I think about 5%, if you just look at music in particular, that's operating at about 5% of what it normally is now. So sadly, it's a lot of the smaller to mid-sized companies in the industry that are looking at those layoffs and closures at the end of JobKeeper. And what I've been trying to help people do is gather data and statistics so we can take them to government and go, look, we need help.
Yep.
We are like the tourism industry, like the aviation industry.
Yes.
We are facing an existential crisis. That again is, as you pointed out, no fault of our own. If people can't meet, we don't have a job effectively. So that's what we're seeing out there, and we're now at the 11th hour as JobKeeper is ending, just trying to get the ear of politicians, which is having some success, but there's still no sign of any particular targeted relief for the sector at the moment.
Yeah, there's no certainty, and what kind of eats at me about this, besides the fact that they're really nice people and are passionate about their own business and the technology and whatnot, and work very hard, is when there's a drought, when there's a flood, when there's a big issue in Australia, it's the entertainment industry that does all these things for free, right? It seems horrible that we're not looking after these people, right?
Yeah, it does sort of stick in everybody's mind. The firefight concert, which was nationally broadcast, which was pretty big. Just as we went into lockdown, that was being broadcast, and what was it? 4 weeks later, we were shut down. Yes, the irony has not been lost on the industry that we're the first ones to put on a benefit concert for everyone else.
So how do people? I guess there's two things here. How do people help who are perhaps looking at the industry and wondering how they can help, and then how do people who are in this tough situation get help? What have we got to do from here?
Okay, there's a number of things I think that could happen that would help. I mean, obviously, politicians acknowledging the fact that the events industry is in trouble. There's been some particularly good lobbying done by the state-based events groups, but particularly, like one example that came to me was Harry the Hirer, based here in Melbourne, did a wonderful video that actually showed the extent of their business. Drone shots of their warehouses, huge shots of their warehouses full of gear, and pointed out that it's companies like them that put on major events, like the Formula One Grand Prix, like the Australian Open. And that kind of gets government attention. That's like, oh, if we lose all of those companies, we lose the ability to host major events, which is something they understand.
Yes.
And something they desperately don't want to lose, particularly with all the interstate rivalry about big events. So writing to your MP, Save Victorian Events, Save New South Wales Events both have wonderful websites where you can get your local MPs details and send them information on why this sector needs help. So that's the lobbying part. The next thing I would say that would help would be just confidence. One of the big things that's stopping events from happening is people's confidence in their ability to actually plan and execute.
Yep.
Now, the vaccine's rolling out, things are getting better. I think there's less and less appetite for lockdowns and border closures, or at least less logical reason to stage them.
Yep.
So if companies that would normally run an event of some kind could just sort of make the leap of faith and book it, let's just put on more stuff. It's not like last year anymore. We've got better contact tracing. We've got better systems in place. And again, a vaccine rolling out.
Yep.
There's been a lot of cancellations, particularly over that last 5-day lockdown that we just had in Melbourne, that spooked people right out to September. And I think it's time to get up off the mat and acknowledge that, no, things are a bit different now. We can actually run events. So yeah, it'd be nice to see the customers come back. Local councils, there's some wonderful sponsored stuff going on here in Melbourne. The Sydney Mire Music Bowl is running a series, which I'm assuming with the infrastructure they've got isn't really making a lot of money, but it's being funded.
Sure.
But yeah, let's just give these people some business.
I agree with all that, and even enterprises, for example, you've got all these people working from home for ages and whatever. When they can, let's start to get people back together and connecting, right? And that'll include trade shows as well. All right, thanks, Jason. Thanks for your time. It's a massive issue that everybody needs to engage. Sometimes this industry is a little bit hidden, but this is the time to get out there and support everybody. So thanks for joining us on CresTV ANZ. Please, now you've watched this, don't go back to your day and move on. Please go to the websites which you can currently see on the screen and support our events and production industries, because they really, really need it, and they're great people. Thanks for watching CresTV ANZ.